to discuss about types of magnetic materials based on BH curve. So first we should know what is BH curve and which kind of materials will show this kind of property. So generally, while we are magnetizing or demagnetizing the ferromagnetic materials, we mostly observe this kind of property known as BH curve or hysteresis curve. So first we should know what is this magnetization and demagnetization. So magnetization is nothing but the process of developing magnetic properties in ferromagnetic material. So this kind of process is nothing but magnetization. That means we are making ferromagnetic materials to behave as magnets. And demagnetization is nothing but removing that magnetic properties from such ferromagnetic materials. So whenever we remove the properties, so then it will lose its magnetism and behaves like normal ferromagnetic material instead of behaving like magnet. So these are nothing but magnetization and demagnetization. So hence hysteresis will take place only in case of ferromagnetic materials while we are going to magnetize and demagnetize them. So we can magnetize any kind of ferromagnetic material by the help of two processes. One is placing this ferromagnetic materials in an electric field between the current carrying coil. And another process is we can stroke those ferromagnetic materials with the help of permanent magnetic materials, permanent magnets. So with the process of stroking, we can convert the magnetic materials into magnets. So with the help of these two processes, we can convert ferromagnetic materials into magnets. So while we are doing magnetization and demagnetization, so then there may occur the process called hysteresis, which means lagging of magnetization flux density P of a ferromagnetic material behind the applied magnetizing field H. That means whenever we keep unmagnetized material, so in an external magnetic field which has magnetizing force H, so then it is possible to convert them into magnets. So then the magnetic properties will get developed inside that ferromagnetic material with the help of magnetic induction. So in this case, so there is a chance of magnetic induction behind the magnetizing field, so which is known as hysteresis. So whenever a ferromagnetic substance is placed inside a current carrying conductor, so due to this, the magnetic field is present in the substance. So that means whenever we are able to impart magnetic properties to certain material, then it gets magnetized. So if we reverse the direction of the current, then the substance gets demagnetized. So this process is known as hysteresis. So that means whenever we change the current direction, so which is going to oppose the induced magnetic field, so then it will get demagnetized. So this process of magnetizing and demagnetizing process will lead to hysteresis or BH curve. So how to draw this BH curve? So in order to draw the BH curve, so we need to calculate the magnetic flux density to the applied magnetizing force. So whenever we note the values at different instants, so it is possible to draw the BH curve. So the loop is generated by measuring the magnetic flux coming out of the ferromagnetic substance while changing the external magnetizing field. That means, so we are going to change the value of magnetizing force. So then we will observe what is the flux is resulted due to which the magnetic flux density is developed B. Okay, so whenever we note down H and B values, then it is possible to draw the BH curve. So then whenever we draw the BH curve, we are going to get one closed loop path, so which is known as hysteresis loop. So here B is measured for various values of H and these results are plotted in graphic form. Then the graph will show the hysteresis loop like this. So this is nothing but the hysteresis loop. So whenever we increase the magnetic field, so that time the flux density is going to be increased. So when we keep on increasing the magnetizing force, till certain value, the B value will increase and it will attain saturated level. So though we increase the magnetizing force, so B value will not increase further. So this state is known as saturation state for B. And whenever we decrease the magnetizing force, so the B value, magnetic flux density will also reduce. So at certain point B, when magnetizing force is 0, so at that time B will not become 0. It will have some magnetic flux density present inside the ferromagnetic material. So this capacity is known as retentivity. And if we keep on reducing the magnetizing force in negative direction to make flux density 0, so at some point C, so we will observe that the magnetic flux density will become 0. So this magnetizing force required to remove residual magnetism that is present in ferromagnetic material is known as coercive force or coercivity. So still if we keep decreasing magnetizing force in negative direction, so the magnetic flux density will still decrease to very minimum level and finally attains one saturation point in opposite direction at point B. So this is known as saturation in opposite direction. And if we again increase the magnetizing force in order to magnetize the materials once more, so the magnetic flux density will increase exponentially and at point E, so again when H becomes 0, so it will retain some amount of magnetism in it. So this is again known as retentivity. So still if we increase the magnetizing force in positive direction at point F, so we are able to reduce the magnetic flux density. Okay, so this point again is known as coercivity in positive direction. Still if we increase the magnetizing force in positive direction once more, so it will take the new path to complete the cycle. So initially, starting from 0 to point A, the magnetic flux density will increase very rapidly till certain point, and after that it will slowly increase till it reaches the saturation level. That means the variation of magnetic flux density with respect to magnetizing force H is not uniform, but it is exponential rise. So once it has reached the saturation level, if we increase the magnetic force, magnetic flux density will not increase further. So because it has attained the maximum level of flux density. So in order to make it 0, we need to reduce the magnetizing force once again. So this kind of process will repeat for ferromagnetic materials, so which is known as hysteresis loop. So here you can observe the overall process. So the flux density V is increased whenever the magnetic field strength or magnetic field force has been increased from 0. So this is very quick at the initial stage, and after some time it will increase very slowly and it will reach finally one point A, so which is known as saturation point. And at this saturation point, magnetic flux density value is constant. So with a decrease in the value of magnetic field, so there is a decrease in the value of magnetism. So whenever we are trying to demagnetize the material, so we need to reduce the value of magnetizing force. Okay, so that time we are able to demagnetize the material. So initially, so whenever we are trying to reduce the magnetizing force, B will not become equal to 0 because it has the capacity to retain some amount of magnetism in them, though H value is 0. So though we have removed the magnetic field. So this process is nothing but retentivity or residual magnetism. So when there is decrease in the magnetic field towards the negative side, so magnetism will also decreases, and at point C the substance is completely demagnetized. So at this point magnetic flux density will become completely zero. That means it is completely demagnetized. So there is no magnetism present in the magnetic material. So this force which is required to remove the retentivity or residual magnetism present in the magnetic material is known as coercive force or coercivity. So in the opposite direction, whenever the cycle is continued till the saturation point B is reached, so again once more if we increase the magnetizing force in positive direction at point E, again it will reach the retentivity point, and the force, coercive force at point F in the positive direction. So due to this forward and backward reverse process, so the cycle will be complete, and this it is known as hysteresis loop. So this phenomenon of magnetic hysteresis is an irreversible characteristic of ferromagnetic material. That means once the ferromagnetic materials are going to magnetize and demagnetize, so we definitely observe the process of hysteresis. So this cannot be changed. So this is irreversible change of ferromagnetic materials, which is possible only for ferromagnetic materials. And during this cycle of magnetization and demagnetization of these magnetic substances, some amount of energy is spent in the process of magnetization and demagnetization. But all the energy will not taken by the ferromagnetic substance, but some amount of energy is wasted in the form of heat. So this heat loss is known as hysteresis loss. So this hysteresis loss is the loss of amount of energy spent on the ferromagnetic material to make it to behave as magnet. So this loss of energy per unit volume of the substance is equal to the area of the hysteresis curve. So whatever may be the loss present in the hysteresis is equal to the area of the loop. So based on the area of the loop, we are able to select the quality of magnetic substances, and we are able to choose which kind of materials are useful for the preparation of temporary and permanent magnets. So hysteresis loss will occur in ferromagnetic materials below the temperature known as Curie temperature. So previously we have discussed about the temperature dependence of magnetic materials. So whenever temperature increases, the substances will lose their capability to align themselves in parallel with the applied external magnetic field. So this creates them to behave in another type of magnetic materials, such as ferromagnetic materials will behave like paramagnetic materials after Curie temperature. So this is how the hysteresis loss is present in ferromagnetic materials, and based on the hysteresis curve or the area of hysteresis loop and magnetization capability of materials, so ferromagnetic materials are again classified into two types. So those are hard magnetic materials and soft magnetic materials. So this depends upon their magnetism properties and also the area of the loop of hysteresis. First, let us discuss what is soft magnetic materials. So coming to the soft magnetic materials, so ferromagnetic materials which can be easily magnetized and demagnetized are called soft magnetic materials. That means, so it is very easy to make them to behave as magnets, and it is easy to remove the magnetic properties from such materials. So such kind of magnetic materials are known as soft magnetic materials. And the energy we are going to spend to make them to behave as magnets is also very less regarding soft magnetic materials. And the nature of the hysteresis loop is very steep, that means very narrow. So you can observe this here. So this is the graph that is drawn between magnetizing force H and the magnetic flux density B. So it is shown that always B is lagging behind the H. Okay, so this is very narrow in case of soft magnetic materials. And since these are easily magnetized, so these have very large value of permeability and susceptibility. They allow number of magnetic lines of force through them very large quantity. So that is why they have very large permeability and susceptibility. But coming to the other properties, that is nothing but coercivity and retentivity. That means the force required to demagnetize the material or the amount of magnetism present inside the material whenever external magnetic field is removed. So these are very, very small for soft magnetic materials, because these are very easily magnetized and demagnetized. So that is why these have very less amounts of coercivity and retentivity. And they are used as temporary magnets or electromagnets. So why? Because so we can easily magnetize them and we can easily demagnetize them. So that is why these are well suited for making of temporary magnets or electromagnets. And since these have very narrow hysteresis loop, they have very less amount of hysteresis loss as well. So that is why they are used in the preparation of magnetic core materials in the transformers. So in the transformers, it is necessary to make the energy loss less. So that is why we are going to choose soft magnetic materials, so while preparing the magnetic core materials in case of transformers. Similarly, this is applicable for electric motors and magnetic amplifiers and magnetic switching circuits. So these magnetic switching circuits are helpful to turn on or turn off the electrical circuits whenever they detect the magnetic field. So, and the examples of soft magnetic materials are ferrous nickel alloy and ferrites garnets. So these are the materials which have very less hysteresis loss in them, and the examples of soft magnetic materials. So next, coming to the hard magnetic materials. So the opposite of soft magnetic materials are nothing but hard magnetic materials. That means, so the ferromagnetic materials which cannot be easily magnetized or demagnetized are known as hard magnetic materials. So it is very difficult to magnetize them and very difficult to remove the properties of magnetism from such materials. And we need to spend a lot of energy to magnetize and demagnetize these kind of materials. So that is why these are known as hard magnetic materials. So the nature of the hysteresis loop is very large, because we need to spend lot of energy to make them to behave as magnets and to remove the magnetic properties from them. So that is why the nature of hysteresis loop is very broad, as shown here. Since these have a very large hysteresis loop curve, so these possess very large amount of hysteresis loss. That means much amount of energy is wasted while converting them into magnets and while removing the magnetization from them. And these have very low value of permeability and susceptibility, because they require high amount of energy to make them magnets and to demagnetize them. So they don't allow the magnetic lines of force so that are generated from external magnetic field easily to pass through them. So that is why they have very low values of permeability and susceptibility. And coming to the coercivity and retentivity, so these have high coercive force and retentivity because they can store the amount of magnetism in them for longer amount of time, though the magnetic field is removed from it. Similarly, we require large amount of magnetizing force to make retentivity zero. That means to demagnetize such materials, we require a large amount of magnetizing force. So that is why these have large values of coercivity and retentivity. So because of their high values of retentivity and coercivity, so these are used to produce permanent magnets. Permanent magnets can work for longer amounts of time as magnets. So that is why they are used to produce permanent magnets, and they are also used in loudspeakers and toys, in measuring meters, microphones and magnetic detectors. So we'll find different applications of hard magnetic materials in all these daily applications. And the examples of hard magnetic materials are steel, carbon steel, chromium steel and tungsten. So all these are the different metals or alloys of these metals, so which are used in the preparation of hard magnetic materials or in the preparation of permanent magnets.